Hi, good afternoon, everybody. So today we'll start with module 4, that is multi-threaded programming. Okay. So far we have seen fundamentals of Java, then classes and methods in Java, then Java exception handling. Now we'll move on to multi-threaded programming. Okay. So what do you mean by multi-threaded programming? Okay. So fundamentals we will see. And how it is different than normal programming language. That's what we'll be studying. Okay. So first of all, generally, if you see, operating system provides the concepts of multiple processes running. Okay. So that means when you switch on your system and see, okay, it is not just one application, but in the background there will be several processes running. Okay, so that might be related to operating system processes or your other processes related to hardware of your PC and other things. And any application you open. Now, so for example, you open Chrome, a process will be running for that. You open your NetBeans editor, process will be running for that. You open the Microsoft PowerPoint, a process will be running for that. Now, how do you differentiate these processes and threads? So there's a difference in these things. Okay, we will see. And how do we create that in a programming language like Java? Okay, or does all the programming language support? That's what we will be seeing. So first of all, Java provides built-in support for multi-threaded programming. Okay, so multi-threaded programming contains two parts. Okay, that means in the program itself, it will have two functions which will be running parallelly, or we say concurrently. Okay, each part of such program will be called as a thread, and there will be a separate path of execution. So that means it might have its own process space, like how when we are having multiple processes, each process will be having a process space. Rather that only the thread will have its own process space. Okay, so we can say that multi-threading is a special form of multitasking. That means in a single program, it will be doing more than one task at a time. Okay, so you are almost certainly acquainted with multitasking because it's already supported by the modern operating systems. So multitasking can be either process-based or thread-based. So generally, multiple processes are running in the operating system, so that's why it is a process-based, and another is a thread-based. Okay, so now we'll see the difference between these two. Okay, so process-based multitasking is already familiar. A process in essence is a program which is executing. So you run a C program or a Java program, it becomes a process. Okay, the process-based multitasking is the feature that allows your computer to run two or more programs concurrently. So parallelly, you can run the programs. For example, the process-based multitasking enables you to run the Java compiler at the same time when you are using the text editor. Okay, that's an example. In process-based multitasking, a program is the smallest unit of code that can be dispatched by a scheduler. This is also another in a thread-based multitasking environment, the thread is the smallest unit of a dispatchable code. Okay, so inside the code itself, you will be having multiple ways in which you can process and run that. Okay, this means that a single program can perform more than two tasks. So already you have seen that example of writing a Java program once to find the square of a number and the cube of a number. So what you had done there is you had created two threads and multiply simultaneously you ask them to execute. So if you see the output, it works in a random fashion. Okay, so a text editor can format text at the same time, that is printing, as long as these two actions are performed in separate threads. So if you see the concept of printing and doing some text edition, so these are happening at a parallel way. Okay, so generalized, we can say that process-based multitasking happens at a bigger picture, and thread-based multitasking handles the details. Okay, so the overhead is less in multitasking threads, whereas in processes, processors are generally heavyweight because you need space for them and such other things. So then what is the advantage? See, generally what happens is now when you execute a program, if there is requirement for any IO, okay, so what will happen is your set of instructions which will be happening line by line will halt for some time and it will be going for the IO operation. So there will be actually wastage of this CPU cycles. So in order to actually you make use of the CPU cycles, which is actually expensive, okay, in terms of computers, so we use the process. That means we use the threads. And that means one thread, okay, if it is going for IO, the other thread can take over and complete its work. Okay, that is the advantage of thing. So in a single thread, your program has to wait for each of these tasks to finish before it can proceed to the next one, even though the CPU is sitting idle. So the idle time of CPU is being reduced. Okay, multi-thread lets you gain access to this idle time and put it to a good use. Okay, so let's see now how Java is supporting the thread. So we are having something called as the Java thread model itself. The Java runtime system depends on threads for many things, and all of the class libraries are designed with multi-threading in mind. Okay, so in fact, Java uses threads to enable the entire environment to be asynchronous. Okay, so that means it is happening in the Java runtime environment. Okay, so this will help in mitigating the inefficiency of wastage of CPU cycle. So if programming language supports multi-threading means it is actually optimizing the usage of the processor. The value of a multi-threaded environment is best understood in contrast to its counterpart. Single-threaded system uses approach called as event loop with polling. Okay, so this is another method you can go through. It's uh, self-understandable. In this model, okay, that what we call as the event loop polling model. A single thread of control runs the infinite loop, okay, polling a single event queue to decide what to do next. So generally there will be a queue in which there will be tasks maintained. Okay, so it will be running continuously and it will be. So once this polling mechanism returns, say, a signal that a network file is ready to be read, then the event loop dispatches a control to the appropriate event handler. So event handling, and we'll see later, but this is theoretically this is how it is done. Until this event handler returns, nothing else can happen to the system. So it's very simple. Say, for example, you have something in the queue. Okay, so if it is the one to be executed next, then the event loop handler will get the access to that, and it will go on working with it. It will not give the processor space to anybody else. So that means it's like blocking something. This wastes CPU time. So that's what is the whole point is all about. It can also result in one part of the program dominating the system and preventing any other from being processed. That means, say for example, one is executing and other wants to execute, but until the other one comes out of the event handler and hands over, it cannot do the execution. So that is, in general, a single threaded environment. When a thread blocks, okay, it suspends, the entire program stops running. Okay. The benefit of Java's multi-threading is that the main loop or polling mechanism is eliminated. Okay, one thread can pause without stopping other parts of your program. So the thread can stop; it can make other part of the program to execute. That is the advantage. For example, the idle time created when a thread reads data from the network or waits for user input can be utilized elsewhere. Okay. Multi-threading allows animation loops to sleep for a second between each frame without causing the whole system to pause. When a thread blocks in a Java program, only the single thread that is blocked pauses, all other threads runs to continue. So this is the main difference. So what will happen is when there are multiple threads in a single program, okay, you don't see that there is wastage of space. So once one of the thread is going for a sleep, so that is actually pause, the other can continue. So that is the advantage. Okay. Next, we will see there are different states in the threads. So threads can be in a running state. It can be ready to run as soon as it gets a CPU time. What do you mean by that? Now, say for example, you create a thread. Like generally in programming, we write it as a function. Okay, but when it will it execute, we don't give it time. Automatically, it gets a time from the system. Okay, so it will be in a ready state. Whenever the processor is free, it will get the access. Okay, a running thread can be suspended, which is temporarily suspend its activity. This is another state. Okay, a suspended thread can be resumed. That means it's suspended again. You can go back and continue. A thread can be blocked when waiting for a resource. Okay, you can block the thread mainly when others are trying to use the resource. Okay, at any time a thread can do the execution immediately. Once terminated, a thread cannot be used or resumed. Okay. So then even we can give priorities to the thread. Okay. Java assigns to each thread a priority that determines how the thread should be treated with respect to it. So that means you can, so for example, in some cases, if you need something to be executed at higher priority, that option is there in Java. Okay. So as an absolute value, a priority is meaningless. A higher priority thread doesn't run any faster than a lower priority thread if only the single thread is running. Instead, a thread's priority is used to decide when to switch from a running thread to the next. Okay, so this is called as context switching. Okay, the rule that determines when a context switch takes place is thread can voluntarily relinquish the control. This is done by explicitly hiding, sleeping, or blocking or pending the I/O. In such scenario, all the threads are examined, and the highest priority thread that is ready to run is given to the CPU. That means, say for example, you do a task, then you ask the thread to sleep. So meantime, the others can take off. So this is a voluntary done. A thread can be preempted by higher priority thread. This is another mechanism, preemption. Preemption means if a higher priority thread comes into the picture, okay, then the one which is executing the current thread, it can be preempted. Preempted means it can be let off. Okay, in this case, a lower priority thread that does not yield the processor is simply preempted. Okay, no matter what it is being done. So this is called as preemptive multitasking. So all these concepts, I think preemption and all, you might have you are studying in your operating system concepts. Okay. In the cases where there are two threads with the same priority or competing for the situation is a bit complicated. For the operating systems such as Windows, the threads of equal priority or time slice automatically in the round robin fashion. So that means to whom to give the access. So this is again dealt at the OS level. So nothing to be done by a programmer. For other types of threads of equal must voluntarily yield the control to their peers. So every operating system has got its own mechanism. Okay, so these things you will study in the concept of operating system. Okay, so for now, these are the fundamentals of the Java multi-threading. So just go through these things and we will continue with the remaining tomorrow.